Welcome to Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation possible. You will get to hear from CSIA system integrators and industry partners to get a better understanding of how they help their clients solve process challenges and how they've earned success in their careers. Along the way, we will touch on system integration best practices, technology, trends, and challenges. Whether you are a manufacturer, end user, supplier, or system integrator, you will enjoy the insights these industry professionals bring to this podcast. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Lisa Richter, the host of Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation and processing possible. In today's episode, we're talking industrial automation with Sam Zungri, who is president and CEO of Polaris Automation, an employee-owned industrial automation and technology company headquartered in Central Ohio. With a foundation in electrical engineering and more than 2 decades at Polaris Automation, Sam has helped shape the company's growth across every dimension, from revenue expansion and operational excellence to the successful transition to employee ownership. Today, Sam is focused on helping manufacturers unlock greater value from their operations through automation, digital transformation, and data-driven decision-making. In addition, he guides the strategic direction of Core Data, Polaris Automation's proprietary platform designed to help manufacturers transform operational data into actionable insights. Sam, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to me today.
Absolutely. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us how you got started in the business of control system integration.
So I am, as you can probably see behind me, I was born and raised near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm a Steelers fan through and through. I went to school at Penn State. I'm a Penn State grad. I have a bachelor's of science in electrical engineering at Penn State. And unfortunately now I'm stuck in the middle of Buckeye country in Central Ohio. I graduated from Penn State in the mid-90s. I got a degree, like I said, in electrical engineering. Had no idea what to do with it. So I ended up, ironically, I worked at Macy's. For those of us that are my age, it was Lazarus at the time. But I worked at Macy's for a year trying to figure it out. And I got 2 job offers. One was in Virginia, and that was writing Fortran code for Tomahawk missiles. And the second job offer that I got was control systems for air pollution equipment for manufacturers here in Central Ohio. And so I ended up taking the Central Ohio job, and the rest is history.
Yeah. So how do you describe to lay people what it is that you do?
So think about, when you walk into a store, whether it's Home Depot, whether it's Walmart, whether it's a grocery store, all of the items that you see on the shelves come from a manufacturing facility someplace. These manufacturing facilities are full of conveyors and motors and all kind of different sensors and things like that, and they run complex processes all day long. Unfortunately, a lot of that equipment doesn't really talk to each other. A lot of times operators are flying blind, so they're making decisions based on gut feel, maybe experience, to track what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes they're using paper logs, or maybe it's dry erase boards or Excel spreadsheets. And so Polaris, what we do is we help those factories get connected, and as a result, then help them become smarter. So for Polaris, we have service offerings where we do the technical work. So we're doing design work, we're doing PLC programming that helps the system, tells the machines what to do and when to do it. We create the integrations that help different parts of that process talk to each other. And that really is what sets up the next step, which is, for us, it's our software offering, Core Data. And that platform sits on top of all of that equipment, and it gives plant managers and people within the business, and even people above the plant manager, an opportunity to see what's actually happening on their plant floor. How is my batch running? Where are my bottlenecks? Where are we losing time? And so we kind of go in and take that noisy factory and turn it into something that's measurable and manageable. Me personally, as president and chief operating officer for Polaris, I'm responsible for the day-to-day, making sure that people are working on the right things and that everybody's in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. You hear that cliche quite a bit, but It's truly you hear it so much because it's true. You have to have everybody kind of rowing in the same direction if you want to be successful. And then when I'm not doing that, I spend the rest of my time on figuring out, okay, where's Polaris going to go?
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about Polaris, like the story behind it, how it's grown, how it's evolved.
So Polaris was established in 1984. So we've been around for 40 plus years. We had our 40th anniversary a few years ago, which was a big deal for us. And that was the traditional services type work that I described. So a lot of the plant floor type, electrical designs, automation, startup, things like that. Mid to late 90s, even into the 2000s, we started branching out into a lot of data related services. So database design, recipe development, some one-off batching systems, because at the time there was no real good solution for our batching clients to really latch onto that they could all use. So a lot of them came to companies like ours and asked us to build something kind of custom for them. So, and a lot of those systems are still in place today. And so around 2019, Polaris became 100% employee owned. So the ownership of our business decided to sell to the employees. And so now every employee in our business is essentially an owner. And so then as a result of that, we had to grow. And our path for growth was core data. How can we build a platform that takes all of our experience and everything that we've done at that time over the past, 30 plus years and wrap it into something that is reusable that we can sell to our clients that will help them get to where they want to be a little bit faster. And so that's our growth strategy. And then today, we're a mix of our traditional services. We do functional safety, risk assessments, and then mitigation strategies, and then execute those mitigation strategies. We do some digital roadmap development too, helping clients understand their data and what they can do with it. And then core data. Core data is very exciting for us.
Yeah. So give me some context. You're located in Ohio, the
Mhm.
headquarters is there. Are there branches? How many people work there? Like put it in context for me so I can understand.
So Polaris is 42 employees. We have approximately 30 engineers that do a multitude of different things. So 20 plus, probably about 25 of us will do the design work, programming, things like that. And then another, say, 10 to 12 is more on our software side that handles core data and some of those things. And then we have an overhead staff that handles all of the major operations of the business too.
Yeah, yeah.
So one thing I'll add to that is when we went through COVID, Polaris became 100% remote at that point, and we're still 100% remote today. And so that helped us expand a little bit
Yeah,
and really opened up a talent pool for us that
yeah.
previously wasn't available.
I think people underestimate that benefit. Hearing a lot of controversy about going back to the office and a lot of grumbling or whatever. And I think people forget that there are benefits too. There are
We talk
benefits
about
to
it.
the
We
remote.
talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
We think at some point we will have, a brick and mortar building that is Polaris Automation, but it's not going to be what it was before, where everybody's coming in from 8 to 5, and you have to live here locally. That's not the model that we'll pursue at
yeah.
all. We found, the remote workforce for us has been very successful.
That's great to hear. What suppliers do you work with?
So, our clients, no two clients are the same. Rockwell Automation is a huge supplier. They have the market share in North America. Most of our clients are in North America, so we have a lot of exposure to Rockwell. We get into some other ones too, Siemens, Mitsubishi. As our clients need different things, we will morph into that. But Rockwell is a big one for us, on the automation side, and then inductive automation with their ignition platform is a game changer. And we are very much in tune with what they're doing and think it's an awesome product, and we continue to use it.
Yeah. Are you certified or endorsed with any of those?
We are. So with inductive automation, we're a premier integrator. And so of all of the folks that are integrators with inductive automation, only 2% of those are premier, and that's what we are. Um, and one other thing I'll mention too, as far as certifications, last year we won the Better Business Bureau Torch Award for ethics. We were nominated by someone in the industry, and then they determine, based on character, culture, our customers, and our relationships, and our involvement in the community. Those are what they use to determine whether you're worthy of the award or not. So we won it. We're very proud of it.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's very satisfying when somebody else nominates you.
That's
You
right.
know?
That's right. That's right.
Guys, real quick, I want to talk about the CSIA Industrial Automation Exchange. If you need to find a system integrator or supplier for a project, this is where you should start. You can search by industry, specialty, territory, certifications, then compare companies side by side. It's a great way to streamline and jumpstart your search. Now, if you are an SI or a vendor, this is also good for you. Why? Because search has gotten weird. AI generated answers, zero click results. A lot of people are getting their answers and moving on without ever landing on your website. That means you need to show up where your buyers are. And that is exactly what a well industry specific directory like the Exchange does for you. Look, I admit that no one really knows how to get into AI search results, or even frankly, if it will matter long term or short term. But I do know that preliminary research suggests that industry directories and review platforms are more likely to be cited by AI tools. Even by traditional search standards, the Exchange stands up like a champ. So go check it out at www.csiexchange.com. Then see if it makes sense for you. See you on the interwebs. So speaking of your customers, tell me some of the challenges they're facing right now.
We touched upon it a little bit already, but our clients, not all of them, but a lot of them struggle to see really what's happening in real time. A mix of old equipment, new software, tribal knowledge is still heavily existent on the plant floor. So trying to get all of that information into something that is repeatable and reusable is a big problem. Batch execution consistency was a problem. That's why we created the batch portion of our product. They run differently from shift to shift, still dependent on people. We're working to kind of help solve that problem as well. And I mean, unfortunately, a lot of our clients, they're drowning in data, but they're starving for insight. And
Yeah.
over the last 10 to 15 years, data is a huge component of what's going on in the manufacturing industry. Where is it? What do you do with it? And so, we're trying to insert ourselves there and help them there as well.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I feel that way myself a lot of times. Drowning in data, lacking in insight.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's unique about how you approach a project?
So I would hope, but if you ask anyone in Polaris, what it is that we're truly passionate about, it would be building relationships. A lot of the clients that we do business with, we've been doing business with for 20, 30 years. There's a reason for that. We build relationships. One thing that we've had to adapt to I'll say we weren't very good at early on, because by nature, our company is full of engineers. So sometimes we're very honed in on the technical aspect of it, but really understanding what success means on a project, right? For the longest time, it's like it's hours and dollars and are we profitable or are we not profitable? And really, for us to be successful, our clients need to be successful. So we have to really understand what is it that they're looking for to get out of this project. If we make them look good, then we know that in the end we're going to be whole and we're going to look good as well. And so those are two things that are very unique about us, for sure.
So another thing that's unique about you is that you're employee owned. And
We are.
yeah. So how does that translate into benefiting your clients?
When it's very easy if you're working for a business, it's somebody else's business, right? It's somebody owns it, somebody's running it. I'm a piece, I'm a cog in that wheel. But it's ultimately at the end of the day, it's somebody else's business that they're profiting on or not profiting on. When you become employee owned, it's your business, right? So there's a level of pride, there's a level of ownership, there's a level of accountability that goes along with this, because it's nobody, as a business owner, like, you don't want that business to fail. You want it to be successful. And now everybody in our business is part of that success.
Yeah. How much would you say of your business is repeat and why do they return?
So, ironically, within the last couple of months, I actually looked at our business over the last 4 or 5 years, and 90% of our business is repeat business. So,
Mm.
I define repeat business. Anybody that's done more than one project with you is repeat business. So, 90% of our business is repeat business. The things I think that make us unique, that keep clients coming back, we're 100% employee owned, and I think there's a it absolutely changes a company when you become employee owned. From an ownership mentality, accountability, people take it a little more personally, right? It's their business now. We've always been and continue to be boldly transparent. So we're not someone who's going to, we want to identify problems early, identify risks, identify issues. We want our clients to know about those up front. We're not the type of company that's you're going to hide it. And then at the end, oh, by the way, and then everybody finds out when it's too late. Much easier to deal with problems up front than it is down the road. And then we lead with a servant mindset. That goes all the way to the top with our CEO, Scott Cook, and all the way through the entire company.
Yeah. So tell me about a project that was super challenging, but you were able to solve that customer's problem.
So I'll go back a couple of years, and we were a staff augmentation for a company that was making consumer goods, and they were working through with a large monolithic MES platform that they were trying to install, and they spent a lot of money over a year and a half trying to install it, and it was never successful. So our folks that were there doing other things, ironically, the client happened to have inductive automation's product, lying around trying to figure out what they're going to do with it. So they asked us to do some small one-off visualization things. Hey, we've got this area of the plant. We don't know what's going on. We want to see this, this, and this. And so we went in and basically connected all that together. And so we did a couple of those in a few different areas. And then that client decided, hey, we want to build out our MES. And so collaboration between Polaris and that client, we built an MES platform for them that's theirs that they distributed throughout the plant. And when they were done with the plant, they distributed throughout their entire enterprise. And they built a platform where they could see what's going on in all of their facilities with the click of a button. And that really was the predecessor for us developing core data, because then we thought, okay, that's great if you're a large manufacturer because you've got the resources, the ability, the people to do that. But what if you're a small to mid-sized manufacturer? I've probably got a lot of people wearing a lot of different hats within my company. How do we do something similar? And so we thought if we could take some of the learnings and our own experience and build that into a product that's easily deployable, well, now we have something that we could go to small and mid-sized manufacturers and help shortcut that process a little bit.
Yeah, that's super satisfying when you
Yeah,
solve the problem, isn't it?
yeah, for sure.
It's a big dopamine hit for sure.
For sure.
Let me ask you a question. Don't get mad. How many people in your life truly understand what it is that you do? I'm willing to guess the answer is not too many. I get it. So many of us toil in anonymity. But what if I told you that I have a place where you can go to meet and talk and commiserate with people who do understand what you do because they do the same thing? Amazing. I know. But that's really the bottom line what CSIA is all about. One way to get started finding your people is with CSIA's learning and networking opportunities called special interest groups. These groups are aligned around topics such as emerging leaders or marketing and meet virtually throughout the year and in person as well during the CSIA conference. We will be bringing more online throughout the year, but for now, if either of those topics sound interesting, go to www.controlsys.org/events to check out what we've got lined up. Full disclosure, you do need to be a member of CSIA to join the marketing SIG, but the Emerging Leaders one is open to anyone who wants to give it a try. So why not take a minute and check out the upcoming schedule at www.controlsys.org/events. Who knows, maybe there are some other online events that strike your fancy as well. Hope to see you there. So tell me a little bit more about how Polaris has grown or changed in the past year and what you expect for the company in the next 12, 24 months.
So our biggest change within the business has been core data. I mean, our revenues have grown year over year. They continue to grow. We're going to outpace our revenues from last year. Over the last, I mean, it initially started with the data visualization piece, right? So removing spreadsheets and dry erase boards and adding context to data and making it, live in real time was where it started. And then over the last 9 months, we built out a batch module that we've launched. And it's an excellent batch execution system with fully integrated batch reporting and real-time visualization of the process. And a lot of time, there's products out there that do that, but a lot of times there's not one that can do it all. You need one, two, maybe three to be able to do all of that. Ours will do it all in one. And then over the next 24 months, our focus, it is now, is really understanding data, right? How our clients' manufacturing data gets organized and how it's structured in the right way so that AI tools can be easily applied. And, you hear a lot in the news about AI this and AI that, and, some folks are embracing it fully and some aren't. And it's something, it's kind of like the internet. It's something that's happening, it's coming, it's not going away. And we have to understand, we have to make sure that our systems are prepared in order to be able to use the full functionality of the tools, which is really where the data comes in. So think of a filing cabinet. A lot of these manufacturing facilities over the last 20 years have stuffed their filing cabinet full of data, disorganized, just randomly stuffing it. And so you're not really changing what's in it. You're just making it possible to actually find what's there, allow
Yeah.
companies to react quicker and make better decisions faster.
Yeah. Nice. I like that analogy. What advice would you give to a prospective customer researching controls engineers or system integrators?
I'm going to say find a partner, not a vendor. I mentioned it before, relationships. If I say anything but relationships, I will probably get a lot of nasty grams from people within our business, when they see this. But you really want someone to understand your business, not just, hey, here's a scope, let's go execute it, and then we disappear. It's really, with especially nowadays, you've got baby boomers that are retiring, tribal knowledge that's leaving, a lot of people in manufacturing facilities wearing a lot of different hats. They don't have the time or the capacity to sit in front of a process, develop some detailed spec, and then, go out to bid for it. They need companies like ours to be able to go in, understand what they're doing, and do some of that work for them, right? Understand their processes, know what you need to do, okay, and then tell us what it's going to take. And so if we can carry that burden a little bit for our clients, that really goes a long way.
Yeah. What are some of the trends and challenges you're seeing in industrial automation right now?
Talent acquisition is one of the biggest trend. Difficult to find people that want to do the automation type work. With advanced technologies and AI and all and data, a lot of the shift now is that way. But we still need people that can live on the plant floor and make these machines work and then integrate them together. So that's difficult for sure. I mentioned it in the last question that you asked me, but baby boomers are retiring. There's a lot of knowledge that's leaving with them, and not enough time to really educate the next level of folks that are coming in. So we have to figure out, okay, how do we get that information and keep it within these manufacturing facilities? And then AI adoption, like I said, it's coming, and you have to. I look at it as it's not to a point yet where that you can remove the human from the loop. You absolutely need the human in the loop, and it should really be looked at as kind of like a coworker versus someone that's going to come in and take your job. And if you use it in that way and you approach it in that way, it's a very powerful tool for companies like ours, manufacturing facilities, really everybody in the world.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast today about AI and how some of the information that's being dumped into our media and like creating all this doom, they're making it very big and
Yep.
mysterious. And really, what if we just thought about it as a tool and not
Right.
like this monolithic, I
Right.
don't know, shadow over everybody.
Yeah.
And that was very helpful for me to keep that into perspective
Yeah.
because you can really start to crash out over like, oh my gosh.
Right. Doom
But
and
so
gloom, right?
yeah, exactly. They called it doom trolling. They called it doom
Yeah.
trolling. Okay, so in your opinion, what's the biggest challenge facing the automation marketplace today and in the future?
For us, especially for companies that are doing traditional integration, in my opinion, it's how that has become a commodity over time. When I first started in the industry in the late '90s, mid to late '90s, there wasn't a lot of people that understood electrical design, PLCs, and how we get all of these things connected and talking together. But as we move through time and technology is available and technology makes it easier to do that, companies like ours need to find new ways to bring value to our clients. And so, we can do that through innovation. We'd like to think, Core Data is a very innovative product that we put together. So that adds some value. And then like I said, we have to really understand where they are, become their partner, meet them where they are, understand where they want to go, and then help them fill the gap because that's the piece of it that's a mystery to everyone. There's a lot of companies out there that have been around for a long time. They have old, antiquated systems. They go back to this, system manufacturer, and it's a ton of money to upgrade. But there's still ways to get valuable data and information out of even the old systems.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity to be a consultant too, particularly as people are, freaking out about all this AI stuff.
Yeah, right.
You can come in and be the voice of reason,
Yeah, right.
you know?
Absolutely.
All right, so switching gears a little bit, tell me why Polaris became a member of CSA.
So initially, it was to gain access to the best practices and benchmarks. We have always prided ourselves in doing things the right way, but we really didn't have anything to compare ourselves to. And so initially, it was that. Um, and then so we were in CSIA, and then we were out for a bit, and then we were talking to a colleague of ours who annually goes to the CSIA conference, and he has asked us if we had gone. And we said no. And he said, you've got to go to the CSIA conference. And so this past year was our first year that we attended. And wow, I mean, it was phenomenal. In the mid to late '90s, right? You didn't talk to competitors. You didn't share what's going on in the marketplace. Everything was kind of secretive and close to your chest. Um, but at that conference, everyone is willing to share. Everyone is open about what's going on in the world, where they see their businesses going, what's happening in the marketplace. And that was very refreshing. We made a lot of good connections there, and we're going to continue to go.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
it's very unique. I have been working in associations my whole career, and I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
What's the best advice you could give your younger self just getting started?
So I would say first thing, your degree is a license to learn. It's nothing more than that. What got you to that degree, right? You go to college. When I was in college, a lot of the technical stuff that you'd learn there, some you carry through, but a lot of it you don't. A lot of it you really understand once you get into the workplace. But what you do learn in college is how to think, right? How do you come up with answers when sometimes you don't even know what the question is yet? So it teaches you how to think a little bit, helps you build instincts, but be humble. Be humble that hey, you don't know anything, but neither does anybody else that's in the same spot that you are. The other thing I would say is pay attention to the people, not just the problems, right? As engineers, we want to solve the problem, solve the problem, solve the problems. But this world is made up of people, and people are a large part of the solution. So you have to be able to work with people, communicate effectively with people. Yeah, we know all the technical stuff, but if you can't communicate and work with the people that are there with you, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I would say is don't get so hung up on where it is that you want to go or where you want to end up, because where you end up is you probably weren't even thinking that was a path for you. I know it wasn't for me. I mean, I came out when I started getting into automation, I was like, okay, integration type work. Never in a million years did I think I would be, running a business one day. But, try new things, even if it's something that you're not sure, but it interests you, try it out, see if you like it. You never know where that path is going to take you.
Yeah, absolutely. Final question then. What are 3 podcasts or books you would recommend?
I got turned on to Moonshots about 6 months ago, and it's all about tracking the future of technology, how it impacts humanity. So there's a lot of AI talk and what goes on with AI there. It's a little bit of longevity talk too about how humans, trying to extend their lifespan through technology and things like that. It's very interesting. I like it a lot. Good to Great. Why some companies make the leap and others don't, by Jim Collins. We have a team at Polaris that's responsible really for our growth strategy. I lead that team, and I had everybody read that book over the last 3 or 4 months, and it was very enlightening. There's a lot of good concepts in there, and a lot of good things that maybe folks don't think about that they should.
Yeah.
And then the last one for me is purely entertainment, and it's Smartless. I love Smartless, especially if you're a Gen Xer, so you know who Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes are. That by far is probably my favorite podcast that I listen to.
Yeah. I think it's consistently in the top 5 or 10 or
Yeah.
something like that. It's,
Yeah. It's
very
very
well
good.
received.
Very
Yeah,
good.
100%. Well, that's it for today's episode of Talking Industrial Automation. If you are interested in learning more about Sam or Polaris, you can find them on the CSI Industrial Automation Exchange at www.csiexchange.com. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Sam, for joining me today.
Thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it.
If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also really help the show by leaving a review and sharing with colleagues. We're all just slaves to the logarithm now, so I gotta ask. Thanks for listening to the Talking Industrial Automation podcast. Thanks also to bensound.com and Wistia for the music bumpers. Until next time.